What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and we have the update notification for the month of May, and this is a really important month because we're going to be getting the Fallen banner in a couple of days, and that's a banner that everyone can spark on. So the meta can change if they have a really influential unit. And this month we're going to be getting a couple of refines and also remixes to Legendary Deidre and Myrrh. So here, Legendary Deidre has got her Fallen Scarlet too, so the name has changed a bit, and this was a special that was a bit underpowered, and now it is going to be giving you the full damage reduction piercing, and it also has the unpierceable 40% damage reduction that we see on many of these specials. It does have the miracle that is once per combat. Finally, they've at least made that, because it was once per map before. That is just so beyond underwhelming when Brave Seliph came out and he could just get the miracle again and again and loop it. And Deidre would not be able to do that. It didn't really make, much sense, being that she is the mother of Seliph. So here she is going to be having that, but keep in mind that the miracle, even though it's built into her special, is going to be getting treated like a non-special miracle, which means that it is going to be getting affected by the null miracle status that is there in Fatal Smoke 4, for example. So she is going to be susceptible to dying to that, and she comes at a time when we do have the Emblem Erica ring, so any kind of armor can get that kind of brave hit and still kill her through her miracle and her bulk, because her defense isn't really there, but she can be a problem for a lot of the resistance heavy saviors like Duorea, who live and die by their resistance check, because Deidre is going to be stacking up her visible resistance, and she's likely going to be getting a refine that builds up on that, and she is going to be needing a lot of true damage so that she can punch through a lot of the magical far saviors, because she already has the null adaptive, and that's good because against the dragons she is not going to be getting her defense targeted by them, so she is not going to be taking a lot of damage while she can be a really big threat to them. And there's also the fact that she has got the dragon effective damage, so I think that is going to be helpful to the people who use her in arena, because facing Ancient Medius, who's at +10 merge, is not fun. He's just so bulky. And there's also going to be newer female Kana, but I think at the higher echelons of scoring, there is going to be more of that Ancient Medius. At least I've been facing him quite a lot. And Legendary Deidre also gets attack resistance Discord as her slot B skill, so that is going to be giving her more true damage. But I would say that the Havoc skill that we've got from Ancient Goto is going to be the better skill. I mean, that's not going to be given to her on a remix, but overall I do like that skill more because of the Kanto that she gets, and it's kind of unlikely that she gets Kanto in her weapon refine. So I'm going to be making a full video going over her when she gets the refine in upcoming days. And then we've got Legendary Myrrh. So the thing with Legendary Myrrh is that her niche got completely stolen by higher ground, lower ground, and barricade. So anyone can do the warp blocking, but without having the warp bubble status. So that means that when you're facing something like Duo Thor, your warp blocking is not going to be getting erased like warp bubble. So here she does get a remix to her Darkling Guardian, which is now called Darkling Guard 2. So this is going to be having Kanto 2 built in it, which is good for compression, because usually you're not going to be running any kind of Kanto skill or Sigurd ring on a defensive unit like this. And it's sort of both phases. She's going to be giving the +6 defense and resistance buff, the follow-up denial status, and the IO shield status, as well as warp bubble and bulwark status to both herself and the support partner or the highest defense ally in 3 spaces. So there is the proximity check, and she gives out a lot of status effects, 4 status effects, and she's going to be able to activate something like a prime skill right away. I mean, not a lot of units use the prime skill, but still it is going to be helpful if you use her with Citrine or Brave Crom, because they're going to be able to copy this. Myrrh also gets some in combat effects, so she gets Omni +5 and the null attack debuffs, and also the dull attack. This could have been the full dull all in my opinion, because that would have been a lot more helpful. And then she gets the 7 flat damage reduction in the combat, and she also gets +1 cooldown per attack. So she is going to be able to use something like Dragon Flame, for example, which now we do have with Attune Young Tiki, and she does get Dragon Scales as her slot B skill. I'm not the biggest fan of this skill because while it does give you a lot of debuffs and the damage reduction piercing, it doesn't give you any kind of real bulk and flat damage reduction that you could maybe get out of reopening, for example. And Legendary Myrrh is the type of dragon flyers like her do not have a lot of options, so I guess you can use Dragon Scales, but I hope that she's able to get a lot more flat damage reduction in her weapon, and I would like her to use her flying mobility to advantage by maybe having the Omni Guidance built into her Refine, because I want them to double down on her support and give her a lot of utility. The actual usage of being a flying unit, being able to enable the warping while blocking the warping with her Warp Bubble Slotsy skill. So I would like that kind of compression. And then we've got the refines for the other units. Marianne is getting one, and I hope that she gets a unique one. Maybe a bit similar to Brave Marianne. I wouldn't really mind that if they embrace the Requiem dance in a bit way. And you could also have her refine where she gets powered up if she's near a non-human ally. So I would just love that if they are able to make a fun weapon refine for Marianne and make her a bit more unique, because we do have quite a lot of blue mages, and we even have good inheritable blue tomes like Devoted Cup Plus, and now we also have Arcane Medusa. And then we have got the refine for Winter Bernadetta, and she was the pioneer for the Gale Force strats back in the day, because she would have the friendly fire damage, and that would just enable you to use stuff like Ardent Sacrifice. You can go and watch some of my older Aether Raids videos and see how she was able to enable someone like Brave Alm. So I would love if she gets a weapon refine that is similar to Brave Bernie in terms of like reflecting any kind of debuff back on the opponent. I find that effect so fun on Brave Bernie, because one time I was facing this Tiazi and she was inflicting me with the gravity status, and Brave Bernie just reflected back that status, and that was a Summoner Duels map where they had a lot of units in a line, and because of their own Tiazi's gravity debuff, my Brave Bernie was able to just shut down the mobility of their team, and that was just insane. So I would love if they use that as an effect for her weapon and make her a bit more unique, because it's pretty easy to make her an offensive, cavalier, but I would like that kind of unique approach, because I just love that effect on Brave Bernie. And then we have got Fallen Male Morgan getting a refine, so he's going to be needing a lot of flat damage reduction, and I hope they pretty much give us the second coming of Male Morgan's weapon refine here, because that was such a good refine for a demote unit, and they could just embrace all of the debuffs and give him like a super foe penalty doubler effect, because he is a Pelagian character, and that effect was called Pelagian effect back in those days before we got the official foe penalty doubler status. So abusing all of the debuffs with his weapon would be amazing, and he could even try and get like a unity effect, so he gets powered up by the debuffs of the enemies. I think that would be cool, because we have a lot of debuffs flying around. And then we have got Arete getting her refine. She came with a rabbit tome, so I don't really have the highest expectations for her, because she isn't a class type that usually does not get the best of the refines being a cavalier, and on top of that she's a ranged cavalier. A red one at that. The track record for the red mage refines is not the best when it comes to the free-to-play pool, I would say. So I'm just cautiously optimistic. I hope that she's able to make use of her visible resistance. If she ends up having like a crystalline water built in her weapon refine, I think I would love that. Being a free-to-play unit, she's not going to be getting the slaying effect, so might as well give all of the visible resistance and attack, and maybe make her like an AoE nuke, like AoE special jump or pre-impulse, like momentum would be really cool on a character like that if they give her the built-in crystalline water, because water is going to be making sense with the Arete and her history. So I would just appreciate that a lot. And then Louise is going to be getting a refine. So they could take the inspiration from Nabata Igren and the fact that Louise is a backpack unit there. And I would also enjoy if she gets any kind of sweep effect in her weapon, because Louise is an incredibly strong woman. She takes pride in being able to protect herself and Pent. So if they reflect on that and give her the sweep effect, that would be just so fun. And maybe they could make her like a modern Eleonora. I know that is going to be a bit redundant with Shamir's weapon refine, but still, it could be enjoyable if they're not able to give her the desperation effect. I did get a couple of Louise while trying to get my plus in air, so hopefully she gets a good one. And then we have got some of the refines next month. It is not going to be a remix month, so we're just going to be getting 5 refines. So Peleus is finally going to be getting his due weapon refine, which he has been missing since his launch. It's just such a pain. And then New York Kaden is going to be also getting one. Could get it, but they could also fast track Luthier and his weapon refine if they don't want to do another red unit in that refined batch, if they're going to be doing Kaden. So it could be the combination of Kaden and Luthier, or it could also be the combination of Arc and Veluria, because then she is going to be the next unit when it comes to being a seasonal to get a refine after Kaden from that same banner basically. And then we've got some divine codes, and here we're going to be getting Bride Lilina, who doesn't have hardy bearing in her weapon, but I mean, she's a combat manual here. She does give you the prerequisite of the Fortress scale, and more importantly, she also gives you the still water 4. So if you do not have access to crystalline water, at least this is going to be something for increasing your visible resistance for the ploy scales, for the sabotage scales, for the discord scales, and for AoE nuking. And then we also have Colorless Feud and Bride Anna. And this does come at a good time because we have just gotten Mythic Elm with his Preempt Screech, which does have the prerequisite of Colorless Feud. So if you're trying to fodder him, I mean, he's an insane unit, but if you are trying to fodder him, then Anna can be a good prerequisite fodder. Remote Sparrow isn't really all that good. I mean, it does give you the pierceable damage reduction, but it's something if you don't have the other expensive skills. And I mean, I don't think I have to say anything about Seal Defense 4. Then we've got Ninja Noir, who does have good stat spread. Giant Shuriken is also not that bad, but Arcane Sly Knife is an amazing weapon for her with her modern stat spread. So she's going to be a unit that many people can try and invest in with a lot of the dagger skills that we have got with stuff like Active Lookout. And a lot of the infantry attune skills. Hayato is going to be there as the prerequisite fodder for the ideal skill and Windsweep. I hope that we get Windsweep 4 soon, because that's a skill I really want to see the version 4 of. Then we've got Ferdinand von Ayer, and he does have Fortress Defense and also Reposition, so more Reposition is always good. And then Setsuna unfortunately doesn't really have much of a skill that he can make use of. Reciprocal Aid isn't really used that much. And then finally we have got Hawkeye, who also doesn't have any kind of skill that he can use, because Growing Light is a weaker version of AoE special, and we just have so much AoE damage reduction that not using the blazing version of these specials is just getting ass to not kill the enemy and just ting them basically and not finish them off. We also have some more news for our new upcoming game mode, Your Time to Shine. I'm eagerly waiting for this game mode because it's like Hall of Forms, but you can basically get these status effects on your units, and this is going to be fun with a lot of older units because they do have the version-based bonuses that you could try and use. So this is going to be there on the 11th of May. We're going to be getting more info about this with the data mine that's going to be happening for the refines. And then we do have the usual heroic ordeals scenes, and then Catapult is getting upgraded to level 14 as its max level. Doesn't matter because the most important structure that you need to break is safety fence, and I mean, you just need not that high of a catapult to do that and to just snipe it on Aether Raids defense. Aether Resort is also getting updated, and then we have got those against Fate from New Mystery of the Emblem and a Gentle Breeze from Three Houses. So Arcania song is nice, matching up with this, and Fire Emblem Three Houses a song, so maybe we're gonna be getting a Fallen character from there. Favor level is gonna be max 5,500. And then we're going to be getting Spring, Lonku, and Jetta in the Grail pool. And there is a glitch with the Dragon Flame skill where it disables the defensive special. So that's going to be getting fixed because that is quite ridiculous. Quan's Resplendent sprite is going to be getting adjusted. And they're also going to be fixing the art of Summer Reese. And there was a bit of a coloring error right there where it is supposed to be his trunks. On this topic, as someone who, goes to beaches quite a lot, I think I always felt like Reese's trunks are just too impractical. I have never really seen anyone have the full length trunks like that. I mean, it's usually up to the knee length. But in any case, they're going to be fixing that coloring error basically. So that's the Spot the Difference challenge, and as I said, I'm quite excited for this month because Fallen Banner, the remix of Legendary Deidre and Myrrh, unfortunately Medias did not get his remix. It was a bit weird. I was not expecting him to not get it, but I guess now it makes sense because Ancient Medias just came out and they probably don't want to cannibalize his value, I guess, so soon. So that's why he got delayed a bit. So let me know what you think about it, and you can click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of the latest insane unit in Mythic Alm. He's just so broken. And then we also have Duo Marth right there, who's also extremely powerful. And you can also subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Legendary Deidre's Miracle against Fatal Smoke 4. So with that, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.